Let's get into it. It's crime o'clock, yeah, feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick-tock, won't stop, let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah, it's crime o'clock. Clock, clock, yeah. Typically new, yeah. Neon signs glow, brick wall behind me. Headlines loud, but they never define me. They rush the story, skip the proof. I slow it down, let it show the truth. Files on deck, read every line. Timestamps matter, so does time. If it don't fit, I don't force the frame. Ask one question, whole story change. No fear my voice, no need to shout. Paper speaks when you read it out. If the math's off, I'll circle twice. Truth ain't loud, but it ain't nice. Yeah. Read it again. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah. It's crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Read it again. They sell a narrative if I sell receipts. Courtroom quiet, but the pages speak. Word for word, no added spin. Let it stand, yeah. Let that sink in. Screenshot save, timeline's tight. Missing pieces keep me up at night. If they say you're late, I say why. If they say case closed, I say try. No rush here, we do it right. Truth don't bend for the likes of hype. If you came for noise, you're in the wrong spot. This is evidence, this is crime o'clock. Clock, clock, clock. Stay with me. This isn't background noise. This is pattern recognition. This is documents. This is crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Say it with me now. Crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Typically unique. It's crime o'clock. Yeah. If you're here, you're early. If you're listening, you're paying attention. Show starts now.
Good Monday morning, everybody. TikTok clocking in. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's having a great day. I had a little snafu this morning, but got good news. So feeling better. Life can go on. So we are ready to kick off this week with talking a lot about Gary Jenkins today. And I'm starting a hypothesis, a little research project. So that's what we're going to get into today. I'm going to tell you all about that, present some information. Hello, Blue Devil. Let's go. TikTok. Hey, Mike. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Becca. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Also, I have you just pre-ordered the book. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that book. Yes, mine is on order too, and I want to do a giveaway of a book this week. I'm going to look up ways to be able to do that here in chat. I have a lot of teacher tools that I used to use to randomly pick names. I just have to figure out how to get that. I know there's a way to do it. I've seen other channels do it to connect it to the chat so we can do that. So I am accepting donations towards that book fund. So anybody that wants to chip in a little bit, it helps. Jen kicked that off for us, and she's done a couple donations. Like, I think we're up to about $10 so far. So it's not too much. Those books are about $30. So either way, I am going to do that. You bought your book yesterday. Nice. All right. So, like usual, I like to start off with something either funny or interesting to get us going, and then we will get into the content. So, I cannot take credit for this, but Lucy, hopefully Lucy's going to be summoned when she hears because I say her name. Lucy, where are you? But she actually posted this in my Discord. So if you're in Discord, you probably saw this already. But it's hilarious. It's about Idaho. So check this out.
Every year, a giant potato travels across the United States to advertise for Idaho. Now, one of those potatoes is actually an Airbnb that you can stay in.
And a lot of people just stop by to see it. It's like a roadside attraction.
Just about 30 minutes outside of Boise, in rural Idaho, sits a hotel that is hard to miss.
They were kind of doing it as a joke. She loves Idaho, loves the potatoes.
It's a giant
This is a russet
potato.
It's something unique, part of history. It's part of Idaho, very much.
Can you guys believe that? If I went out there, I'm staying in that thing. That is hilarious. Wait till you know how I am with like the porch goose and my peeps and the crows. Wait till you see the animal they have out there. Like it's just honeymooning. Imagine honeymooning in that potato. Nomadic Duck Man, it's good to see you. And Michelle making a big contribution towards our book. Thank you so much. Whoever gets that is going to greatly appreciate our the generosity for that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I appreciate you. Thank 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 you for the support. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's find out about this potato.
Part of Idaho.
Christy Wolf started the Idaho Potato Hotel in 2019, but her dad, Frank Wolf, says the potato had a long life before that.
A nice couple from Weiser, Idaho, had built this potato to go on the back of the big truck.
That big truck was with the Idaho Potato Commission. The commission takes a giant potato across the U.S. to advertise for Idaho.
So this one that we're sitting in has traveled all over the world.
They went to the Kentucky Derby, the Indianapolis 500, those big events, but they also just went to little Walmarts and grocery stores and things like that.
After 7 years of touring,
When it was on tour, people said, well, is it real? He said, well, it's a real replica.
this specific spud reached
Yeah, spoiler alert, it's not real because I'm like, how are they? I can be so gullible sometimes. I'm like, how are they living in a real potato? It's gonna rot. It's a replica. They had to redo it. They had to, I guess it was made out of like cement and I don't know, some other materials, and then they made it out of like, I think he says fiberglass or something. So it's a stable structure, but hilarious. I can't really laugh at the Idaho potato because in Ohio we are the Buckeyes, and that's a nut. So yeah, we are represented by a nut tree. Do you know what is your state known for?
its expiration date.
They retired this potato from the truck because they wanted a more roadworthy one made out of fiberglass instead of concrete and plaster.
Christy had already started designing tiny homes and turning them into Airbnbs. She also worked for the Potato Commission and had the dream of turning the potato into a place to stay.
She said, hey, I've got Airbnbs. I got a couple of them by this time, and they're doing really well. And she showed them, the Potato Commission, some results of her Airbnbs, and they gifted her this potato.
She renovated the whole inside of the potato, adding insulation.
That little bed nook is cute. Like I can't believe this woman does this all by herself. I wish I could do that. Look, that looks pretty cool. Maybe claustrophobic if you don't like that stuff, but that's pretty cool.
This potato.
She renovated the whole inside of the potato, adding insulation, electricity, water, and adding a modern touch.
She does most of the building herself, and she comes up with great ideas.
And just about a 10-foot walk from the potato is a grain silo that she turned into an upscale bathroom.
And it's got a shower and a tub, and it's just a lot of people like that experience.
That's pretty cool with that giant tub and a little fireplace there.
And she got bathrobes and slippers for them.
Here, Dolly.
This is the best
The
part.
property also comes with Dolly, the cow, who moseys around.
Dolly the cow. I just realized that was my I guess my second dog, but really my first dog that I remember growing up with. Her name was Dolly. That's cute. Yeah, so it comes complete with a little Jersey cow on the property. I gotta say though, in all seriousness, these I want to say bed and breakfast, Airbnbs, these Airbnbs, like this is the way to go to come up with something unique. I have friends here in my town that have built a little like community of these tiny homes, and they basically used like, I don't know if they like bought the tiny home structure or however they did it. They had some existing buildings on their property. They just own this big property. And they made it into a theme. So every building, every little Airbnb is a Western type of building. So you got the saloon and the, different buildings like that. So it's pretty cool. Oh, Wisconsin, you go with almonds, the almond state. We got the Buckeyes, we got the almonds. Hi, Alicia, if I didn't say hello. Hey, Jen. Yeah, here's
On the
Dolly.
potato, keeping guard over the property.
She saw this little Jersey cow
Hey,
that
Sleuther.
was a year or two old, and she said, that would be good.
The potato, with its unique accommodations, is rooting in visitors from around the globe.
So people just come by, oh, hey, there's a big Idaho potato hotel. Let's go look at it. And they'll just stop by and look.
It's almost always fully booked, and Wolf says it's a place to relax, get away, and get a true taste of Idaho.
I don't think there is another potato like this in the world.
It's not just an Idaho potato Airbnb you get to stay at, but you also get to hang out with Dolly the cow. For Exploring Idaho, Abby Wilt, Idaho's News Channel 7.
All right, there's our little fun for today. Okay. All right. Today I want to talk about why Bryan. So a lot of questions are coming out as people are going through the Washington State University documents. We are finding out that some dates don't match up. Some people have been able, I know Jules went over the first chapter, some things from the first chapter of the book last night. So some things are coming out. And, with all that, it's even verifying all the questioning we've been doing. I mean, I just keep saying, oh my gosh, thank gosh I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. That's my first reaction. And then the second question is, well, then like, why Bryan? Like, if we've been able to look at all the evidence that they say they had, and just on our own as either interviews come out or the videos, like the car videos, the body cam interviews, I've been saying all along, I've just been waiting for something to come out so I could say, oh my God, it really is Bryan. Like, I'm going to knock this off right now, Hasn't happened once in 3 years. And that's one thing Carlos keeps asking me, like, when is this, not end, but when are you going to be satisfied? That's how he keeps wording it, I think. Like, when are you going to be satisfied? And I'm like, what I just said, when I see something that definitely points to him, and then he'll say, well, the DNA. Well, I don't know about that DNA. So when you look at what the experts and the expert reports were saying, I think there's some questions. So I'm thinking about that. And then the second part of how I'm coming to this idea is, I guess I didn't realize the WSU law enforcement connection with the investigation. I mean, I know that they found the car. Okay. And that's one of the things that is coming out from the Washington State University lawsuit with the parents. So they just released all of those documents. And there's a lot of email communication in there between Moscow and Pullman Police Chief Gary Jenkins. He started there, retired, came back in, then moved to WSU. I don't know. It's something like that. Or he was at Pullman, retired, then filled in at WSU, something like that. But he was in charge of both departments for a while, and didn't realize, I think, how much his connection might be important, because he's the one that interviewed Bryan for the potential internship position with the police department. So when you think about it, like, if none of the evidence points towards Bryan, then why him? Where'd he come from? And I have a hypothesis about that. So just a theory. And when you have a theory, you have to do some research and try to verify it and come up with a conclusion. So I have thought about this for a long time because of other things that I've seen creators show that also had to do with Washington State University. Washington State University, it was either the campus police or the Pullman police. I do get them mixed up, but they are also intertwined, I believe. I know for sure that in Idaho, the police officers that are assigned as campus police are also underneath the supervision of the Moscow Police Department. So I'm wondering if WSU has that same hierarchy, but those officers have been in trouble. Lots of sexual assault claims against many officers. 3 high-ranking officials retired right before. It was in the spring of 22, I believe. Either somewhere that first year, the year before the murders. Just retire, not no consequences for having those types of things happen under your watch. So my point is, Washington State University had experience with Bryan Kohberger before the murders, whether it was just an interview. They only had 4 candidates. I think you're going to remember 4 candidates. You're probably going to talk about them. You're making a decision. You're going to get to know them. You're going to find out about them, do a little history on them if you're only choosing one. So they'll say, oh, yes, I interviewed him, but It was probably more than that. So my point is, you knew Bryan Kohberger, and then when they were questioned about him getting that position, it wasn't a straight out no at first. I don't know if you guys remember. I have not found the particular clip with, I believe it was Gary Jenkins, but I believe even Carlos would vouch for me because I remember us talking about it. His first response was, well, I don't know if I can speak on that. I'll have to check with my lawyer. Did Bryan Kohberger get hired for that internship position? Oh, I don't know if I can speak on that. I need to check with my lawyer. It's not an issue for the lawyer if he never, nope, he has no connection with us. Just say no. And if you're not just saying no, then what does that mean? So it raised questions. I will just say that. So we'll do this. Like, that was the first one. First red flag. Okay. And Jesse Lynn is saying that Payne and Gilbertson looked familiar to Bryan. Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Steve and Christy are not comprehending that he was not fired until after his arrest. He was going back to school and told Payne and Gilbertson that. Yeah, I just saw that. Who posted that? Was that in did Kathy's Indie Zone post that? Someone just had that date of when he was terminated. It was like January 5th, right? Why does that date stand in my mind? And Alicia says, I really feel like the parents' hopes is that they will get more information about what they had on him from doing this. I know, but I think it's going to backfire. Red flag, Blue Devil. What do you guys think? So the parents of the victims filed this lawsuit against Washington State University. Do you think it's playing out the way that they expected? Or do you think it's going to backfire on them? Hey, Christina, you got running around to do. Have a good day. I don't know. Information's coming out regardless. So, all right. So that's my theory, is that whether it was this official internship or not, I think Bryan was doing some type of work forensically in the computer, like cloud forensics, right? So my understanding was that Bryan went out there to Washington State University because they have a really good criminology program, and he was specializing in cloud-based forensics as well. And so then I was like, oh, where did I see or hear that? So I found that information. Okay. So yep, that's what I'm focusing on, is YBK. So let's look at this first. Will it let me? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have his letter. So let's start with the letter of application. And I know we've probably all seen this, but sometimes when you things stand out to you better after we know more information. Okay. Whoops. All right, here's his application essay: graduate research assistantship for public safety. Graduate research assistantship for public safety. So that was the position he was going for. This was March 31st, 2022 when he wrote this. And his essay says, policing, make sure you can see it. Yep. Policing in America is increasingly facilitated by the use of innovative and convenient technologies. From the beginning to end of a law enforcement officer's shift and throughout every level of a criminal justice agency, the utilization of technology is intimately connected to patrol and administrative functions. So I think poor Bryan here was talking about modern policing in America, because we all make fun of the interviews, the Sigma Chi interviews that Van Leuven is doing, and you can just hear his pencil like furiously writing, and we're like, why aren't you just like typing it up or something? Due to the contemporary integration of technology in the patrol function, a persistent and overwhelming dearth of data is routinely generated without sufficient resources for staffing and data management and analysis. All right, so he's saying like patrolling, especially patrol officers, so out driving your car around, and then the administrative side of it, you know, writing your reports, requires more people for staffing, more data management tools, and ways to analyze that data. This presents a dilemma, specifically for suburban and rural police departments. Okay, remember I told you that he had said that that's why he was going out there, to help this area update their cloud forensics, okay? Where there is an abundance of valuable data, that is. So this is only a problem if you actually are using this stuff and have a lot of data, right? Due to a lack, let me see if this opened up over here. Nope. Where am I at? Due to a lack of internal and external support, incapable of being appropriately utilized. Where there is an abundance of valuable data, that is, due to a lack of internal and external support. Okay, yeah. If you're rural, you don't have the funds probably to implement these things, so that type of support. A lot of times in smaller rural towns, they don't want to change as fast. Change is hard. So that could all go with that support. And they don't know how to use it. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm from a small town, and even in the education system, if we would try something new, my biggest complaint was we could use all the new stuff in the world we wanted, but you have to use it the right way. You have to use it the right way. And my point is, a lot of times it's not used the right way. Without the capacity to utilize and analyze the data. So you're not using it and you're not analyzing it. That is perpetually created in a dynamic environment. Suburban and rural criminal justice agencies are at an extreme disadvantage. Within the underutilized data lies important figures and findings that would ideally be taken into consideration if a criminal justice agency is to truly foster efficacy and efficiency in the practice of policing. This is my jam right here. I am all about like policies and procedures. Like, I always say, like, if you don't monitor it, you can't improve it. Like, you have to know what the data is and what the data is saying. And you also have to know, like, steps to take, right? And he's saying that, and I agree, and I'm sure there's data to support it, that in these rural places, they don't have that, okay? In fact, in order for a criminal justice agency to be capable to the complex social environment that shapes any single interaction between police and citizens, an in-depth look at the unused data is of extreme significance. Ooh, this might play right into what my theory is. Anybody see where I'm going with this? All right. With consideration to the needs of rural and suburban criminal justice agencies, the graduate research assistantship for public safety is paramount to enabling the success of public safety. In counties in the city of Pullman and the city of Pasco. I haven't heard of that. Have you guys heard of Pasco? I'll blow this up so you can see it. By organizing and analyzing data, recommending different data collection practices, writing reports, and aiding the agencies in the I don't know what this word is, implementation of a research agenda, something like that. I would be honored and grateful to accept the position as a graduate research assistant on this important and worthwhile endeavor. This is very well written, very well written. And he seemed like he was on a mission about that. So to me right here, I don't know if this will open. Nope. This last, it won't let me select it. This last sentence, by organizing and analyzing, to me, this is what the research assistant would be doing. So let's just think for a minute if Bryan did get this position. He would be organizing their data and analyzing their data. I'm going to talk about a certain kind of data that they might be looking at and organizing. They would be recommending different types of data collection practices. They would be writing reports and aiding the agencies in some type of a research agenda. Now, remember what I said, a lot of times, if someone's coming in, an outsider, you're still in college, you're still a college student, who are you? I don't like new things. Why can't we just do it the old way? There can be a lot of pushback. Pushback is the nice way of saying it. I mean, I used to do professional development for educators. I'd be in tears sometimes. They could be ruthless. And I was their colleague. So, from my personal experience, being in that type of position, if he was in that type of position, I don't think everybody would be cooperative. I think he would be in a position to step on some toes. I definitely think he had the potential to stumble upon some information that he wasn't supposed to see. Maybe get on somebody's bad side. Maybe, especially knowing his personality, like rule follower, I'm going to spill some beans about something. Those are crazy theories. I'm just speculating because all we know right now is that Bryan did not get the internship. That's what we know right now. I'm willing to speak on this, though, because of the 55 million, what should I say, 86 octillion, what's that number? Lies that have been found out in this case. So I am not going to just trust us on this. Hi, Jenna. How are you? You guys are talking about the book. Yep, be looking for my announcement on the book giveaway. I'll try to come up with a plan for that for tomorrow because we're at the 20th today, April 20th. We've got 8 more days. 8 more days. All right, so that's my a potential connection hypothesis for Bryan. If there was a reason, if there was going to be a reason for singling him out, what would it be? And I think he was into that data using this cloud forensic stuff and found something out. All right, so let's look at. I put them in the pictures. Here is Bryan's resume. If you guys want to see his resume. So this was updated March 31st because that's when he had to send it to Pullman, and it says biosocial criminology. These are his research interests. So if he was going to do some research, which you do as a doctorate student, his interests are biosocial criminology, bounded rationality, that's interesting, legal and forensic psychology, the causes of violent crime, situational crime prevention, cognitive psychology, emotion and decision making, opportunity theories, and script theory. Okay. And then he has his education here. So he has a master's in criminal justice, a bachelor's of psychology, which he focused on forensics. And then he had a what do you call that? An associate's degree in psychology. Oh, it looks like he was in an academic fraternity, you guys. An academic fraternity. These are like honor societies, but they give them Greek names. So he was in Psi Beta. He has a Psi Beta membership, and he has a Psi Chi membership at DeSales. What's NCC? They just set it up here. Northampton Community College. So he was in the undergraduate programs. All right. Wait a minute. He provided student peer. He was a student peer supporter. I thought he was weird. 2017 to 2018 at Northern Hampton Community College in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He had a 3.68 grade point average, and he was in the honors program. Then when he went on to his bachelor's degree at DeSales University, he had a 3.315 GPA. That was cum laude. And then when he got his master's degree, he had a 4.0. Let me tell you, it's easier to do that when you get your master's degree. I have my master's degree. It's easier to get a 4.0. Oh, Jen, look at you. $5 more for the book. I think we're just $5 away, which is awesome. Thank you so much. I want to find something where I have everybody put in their names. We'll do everybody's name in chat and spin a wheel or something. That's what I'm thinking. Book fund. I'm so excited for this book to come out. I told you guys I was in a teacher book club. I got to fix this light. I'm glowing. Why am I glowing? Is that better? There. I'm still glowing. I need to put it down. Let me put it down. What is going on? All right, one more thing. Give me 1 second. So so much better. I'm like, I'm not like that oily and greasy, you guys. I had a big box light like right in my face. But when I taught language arts with my students, you know, these kids were like mostly around 13 years of age. So they were reading like full-blown novels, really good books. And man, we would do like book clubs together and just have great discussions. And I can't wait to do that with all of you when this book comes out. Look at Jen shutting it down with the last $5. We got a book. I'm going to go in and order it and get it in my cart. And then whoever wins that we'll make arrangements for how I will have them. I'll have it shipped to you straight from Amazon. And I do have ways to do that without your direct address. So thank you, Jen. You're so great. All right. So yeah, we were looking at his education. You guys, like I before I started my own channel and before I really got into this, doing it consistently, I've watched so many people, and maybe I just missed it. I'm sure other people have gone over this, but it never landed on me like this. I think this is very important right here. Hey, Becky. He was a student. And when I say he, I'm talking about Bryan Kohberger, you guys. He was a student peer supporter in 2017 to 2018. So that's 3 years before the crimes. He applied mental health first aid training strategies in order to effectively communicate with the distressed within the context of mental health crisis, requiring collaboration with emergency personnel. Wow. I do think I remember hearing this way a long time ago. He disseminated mental health information pertaining to community and campus resources. He remained available and open to students as a peer resource while on campus. Wow. I'm surprised. Well, I don't think they would want. It would be interesting to get somebody to come out to speak about that. Did anybody interact with him? That's kind of personal, though. They might not want to say, yeah, I talked to him about my mental health. That's a hard one. All right, is there a second page? No. What's going on? Why is this cut off? Oh, here they are. Okay, that's what I was reading. Okay, so down here at the bottom, I can't see it very well. It says Psi Beta Research Involvement, the Hidden People Research Project. What does this say? It's cut out. It's hard to see. It's at the bottom. Administered a survey to participants to measure their understanding of hidden disabilities before, and it's cut off. Why is this cut off? I did take a screenshot. Oh no, you guys, I'm gonna have to go back and find where I got that, because I just like screenshot it and I cut it off. The point is, he was slaughtered by the mainstream media to look like this horrible person, and now we're seeing on paper positive things that he did. And then we saw him have a conversation and interact at the DMV video. He had a normal conversation. He was pleasant. It was a woman. He didn't talk down to her. There wasn't anything weird with his interaction. And trust me, I think a lot of us would like pinpoint that right away, right? People complain about his running hobby, Jen. I think that's like a super healthy thing to do. Like, sounds like a killer to me. I know. How dare he try to help those people with mental health? Yep, they sure did. They just got away with it. All right. So, based on this, let's take a look at what good old Gary Jenkins had to say. Here. Oh, this doesn't go with that, but we'll look at it anyways. Okay, here's Gary Jenkins quoted to Bryan Enton. And Gary Jenkins said if he had selected him for this internship program, that Bryan would have been embedded with the Pullman Police Department. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's say Bryan did not get the internship. Do you think he knew the other 3 candidates? Let me know in chat. 100%. I think personally he knew those other 3 candidates. They're all trying to get the same position. They're all going to be graduate students. They're all going to be in the same department. I think there is a high likelihood they would know each other. So then think about this. If they know each other, what if they work together? You know, we know he shared offices with people. We know that we've been told that they like made fun of him and they were annoyed by him, but have we seen anything yet to prove that? That's something that's probably in those Washington State University documents that have come out. So I'm going to put that on that's going to be part of my research project. So what did those WSU colleagues of Bryan, were their official complaints made, right? Because my thought is if there wasn't, and so let's say someone else got this embedded with the Pullman Police Department job, and they're seeing Bryan day in and day out, and they're working on the stuff that all 4 of those people know about. Do you think you might run those, like share that information with your, I want to say colleagues, but fellow teaching assistants, fellow graduate students. I mean, I'm just speculating of another possible scenario, because the scenario we've heard so far is he's a freak, he was annoying, he drove us crazy, he was inappropriate, but we haven't seen anything to verify that. And then Gary Jenkins says that the hair on the back of my neck stood up when he realized the person he interviewed for an internship was Bryan Kohberger, the murder suspect. Because, I wasn't sharing, sorry. Because that is what the talking point is. Or he's saying that's the first time he realized his name. So he never knew anything about his name until I realized that he was the person. And that's the big question, is when was that? When was that, Gary? When was that date that you heard his name, right? Hi, Joanna. He had no issues at the DeSales College, WSU, all after his arrest. Yeah. I mean, we're looking to see. Let me know in chat. Has any creator, I've been trying to watch Lana as much as I could because I know she's been on this Gary Jenkins stuff. I've taken some notes from her. Has anybody shown a document that shows complaints from students or other teachers' assistants or professors at Washington State University? before his arrest. Let's clarify that. Before his arrest. Which he was, says the guy that hated BK, resented having to share a job with him. Wait, where did you see that at, Witchy? What was the job? Was it being embedded in the Washington State Police Department? I'm being funny. I'm being funny. The academic structure pitted them against each other. That's kind of, I mean, when you're a teacher's assistant, I don't know why it would be so competitive with each other unless you're trying to like stay on as maybe a future professor. That's one of the main reasons I've always understood that people become a teacher's assistant. You're trying to get that doctorate and it helps cut the cost of that. I looked into getting a doctorate degree just here in Ohio, and it literally cost $50,000 about 10 years ago. So I could imagine how much it costs now. I didn't do it. That was crazy. I'm like, I'm not paying that much for a piece of paper. It was a split code. Oh, I'm interested in this. I want to see that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why would it be competitive? They're trying to get the attention of their professors, get endorsed for things. Professors often publish books. And if you're a teacher's assistant and you want to become a professor, yeah, that was where the competition would come in for sure. All right, we're going to go to this. Nope, it's over here.
At DeSales University in Pennsylvania. She has not spoken publicly about Bryan Kohberger. I want to bring now, though, and we're joined exclusively by her, renowned.
So this is old, because I'm going back to see exactly what was said. I'm going back to see exactly what was said because, I'm doing research for my theory. If it was possible that Bryan ended up doing any work for Washington State police or Pullman police, anything to do with that research assistantship, because there has to be a reason. If it right now is looking like there's no evidence for Bryan, according to the investigation, there were other suspects that they were highly investigating. And then out of the blue, it seems like all of that got dropped. Bryan Kohberger became the person, and I want to know why. Like, there has to be a reason for that. There's no connection there. So let's see what his former professor said.
Forensic psychologist, Dr. Catherine Ramsland. As you may know, she was Bryan Kohberger's professor and advisor at DeSales University in Pennsylvania. She has not spoken publicly about Bryan Kohberger until now. She's been on this show talking about other cases, but she's been very, very careful not to talk about Kohberger because of the trial, because she was going to be a witness at the trial, and she now feels comfortable to open up to us. And we've got so many questions, Dr. Ramsland, that I've got so many questions I've wanted to ask you for so long. I want to start with,
I need to look at the witness list. Was Ramsland going to be a witness for the defense? or the prosecution? Wait till you hear what she says right here. I would think the defense was going to use her.
How did you first meet Bryan Kohberger? What classes of yours was he in?
Okay, I want to be just clear that
I'm going to read these comments. Let me see these names. Hello, beautifully broken woman. Bethan Shermy says, getting on a professor's research team, yes, to possibly get published is one of the many competitive aspects. Think about that. Think about that. What if these professors want to, if part of this department, professors included, they write books, they do research. That's what they do. And then they use those books to teach their classes. Like, it's a cycle. What if one of their topics was this cloud-based forensic stuff and they're out here in rural Washington and hey, like double whammy, we're going to research and study, because you got to do like case studies and you have to collect data when you do a research study. What if they use the police department for that research and that case study, and then they use that information to write their books and they're getting help from their students? That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe he didn't get that assistantship, that official, but that doesn't mean his whole department still wasn't working on a research project like that. Good point. Great point there. Hey, Mouse. Hi, Sarah. Sarah the Irish. Joanna, hello. Very competitive. Yep. Ramsland was going to talk for the defense. Thank you, Sarah. Hey, Wadebird. Yes, great point. Thank you for adding information, you guys. Yeah, not just writing books, but they do like those scientific journals, right? Oh my God. When I was in college, that's all you had to do. You had cite your scientific journals that you used for your information. Yep. Yet they won't say if Bryan was researching anything. Yeah. Publish or perish. Ooh, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yep. Beautifully Broken Woman says, in my opinion, Homeland knew he was top tier and they send him as a fresh face plant. Yeah. Yeah. I think I might have a little bit of information about that. Washington and is that U of I have a reciprocal agreement to attend each other's criminology classes. Who's to say the labs weren't used by both? I do see where you're going. And you know what, Wade Bird, I can't remember, it was probably a couple weeks ago. I did a live where I pulled up Google Earth and we were looking behind the Sunset Mart, the 76er gas station where they said Ethan's apartment was. And we were looking at apartments around there. And on the other side of the street, it's very like overgrown. And there was a building there. And I swear to God, it said it was like a forensic lab or something. And I was like, oh my gosh. What if there was a forensic lab right across the street from Ethan's apartment? Oh my gosh. Crazy. All right, let's go on with this.
I'm still within the FERPA limitations that protect students and student information. So I will talk within that. I met him in the fall of 2018 when he came to DeSales University. He had an associate's degree and he was going to get into our 4-year program as a psychology major. He selected the forensic track which made him an advisee for me because I managed the forensic track. And he was also in my class that semester.
And Dr. Ramsland talks about FERPA. I should have mentioned that there's a law, it's a federal law, I believe, that she is not allowed to talk about certain aspects of a student, their grades, certain parts of their academic life. It's almost like a HIPAA. So she's going to tell us what she can, but unless Bryan Kohberger signs off, she's legally not allowed to talk about certain elements of his academic career. So just keep that in mind if there's some things that Dr. Ramsland can't answer. What was your perception of him?
He seemed like eager to be in the classroom. He was polite. He was respectful, intense, and curious. And there was no reason for me to think that he was anything other than someone who was really interested in this potential career.
Wait. What? I know we've all heard this, but we don't get to hear it that much. So I saw your question. Did I respond? Oh, I was saying, yes, please. Beth and Shermy, please. If you want to post them in the Discord, you can. I can post the Discord link again. I would love that. You can email them to me, whatever's easier for you. Let's see. Copy. Here you go, you guys. In my Discord, mostly we just share things in there. Have a little bit of chit chat, mostly sharing. I have some side forums. I have one that is for our book club. So please don't hesitate to go in there. We are already talking about our questions and predictions we have for this book that's coming out. So we can talk about the book even before it comes out, like just with the questions, like I said, questions and predictions. Yep. You're listening while you're driving. So that kid, there's a Gideon Lotta. I do not know anything about that. That is interesting. I have not. And I think it was Beautifully Broken Woman, what you said. I will go look at your channel too to see what you had. Thank you. Hot Girl Bummer. I love that name. Okay, so she just said some nice things about Bryan. Let's go back and hear those again. What are his characteristics?
Mind if there's some things that Dr. Ramsland can't answer. What was your perception of him?
So she would have said this in court. What was your perception of him?
He seemed like eager to be in the classroom. He was polite. He was respectful, intense, and curious. And there was no reason for me to think that he was anything other than someone who was really interested in this potential career.
Okay.
Was there anything looking back now that was strange about him or that you noticed?
When I look back, there really isn't anything that stood out to me. I think when you're a teacher, your instinct is to accept students at face value. You don't, start with suspicions or, and there really weren't any red flags. He was always really quite respectful.
Okay. I've heard this like 5 times. I haven't listened to it in a long time. She said there weren't any red flags. You guys, she does this for a living. She not only does this for a living, she is like the top national expert on this area. Her job is literally learning what those red flags are by studying not only serial killers, but spree killers, mass killers, their psychology, all of that stuff. She, in my opinion, spending time after time, day after day in a room, plus she was like mentoring Bryan, right? I'm sure she had one-on-one time consulting with him as his mentor, and not one red flag went off. I mean, that's interesting. She would have picked something up. I mean, I am shooketh. I am shocked that she is saying, nope, didn't notice anything. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, does she not want to say anything because, well, she can't be liable for that. She can't be liable for that. Or would she be? Yeah. I really thought like, oh my gosh, there's like a 50-50 chance here that this is going to go either way. Would she come out and say that if that's what she thought? If she did think that, would that make her, I mean, the parents are suing WSU. Would they turn around and sue her? I don't know. It makes you think. I do try to see things both ways when I can, but for my research purposes, I'm going to use her words for what they are, and that's what she said. She said that as the number one expert in this country on psychological indicators for mass murderers, I saw no red flags when it comes to Bryan Kohberger. That's what she said.
And grateful. He would thank me for things. He was attentive. He would do the work. I didn't have any concerns.
What I think it was 4 classes that you taught him in. What were those classes?
There were 3 undergraduate courses in the forensic track that I taught, and he was in all of them. Well, one was Introduction to Forensic Psychology. Another was my death investigation class, which was called Psychological Sleuthing. And the third one was called Dangerous Minds, the Psychology of Antisocial Behavior. And then he got into the graduate program in criminal justice for a master's degree. And he took a course with me called Behavioral Criminology.
Is there any?
That antisocial personality bit there is more than what people probably think it means, right? It's not just, oh, I act weird in public. When you look at someone who has antisocial personality, there's a lot going on with their brain, their thinking. It's deep. And that one is it's on that list, I think, of those indicators for these mass killing, serial killer type things. It looks to me, this is just me thinking out loud, like the smear campaign they did in the public media, the way that they tried to find as many people as they could showing weirdness with Bryan. They were probably trying to relate it to that. But if you look up, I'll have to do that. I'll have to share like what that really means when you have antisocial personality disorder. But it's not just being weird.
I think, Dr. Ramsland, when you look back and you think about the curriculum of those classes, and not getting into his specific experience, but when you think about what you taught in those classes, that you think, oh my gosh, he may have used that in what he's now accused of doing here in Idaho?
Well, the antisocial behavior course involves serial killers and mass murderers, and we do a lot of case analysis. I use two books that I wrote. One was written with the BTK killer, whom you just mentioned, and his decision process and the crimes and how he thought about them and felt about them, and what was it like for him, to be caught. So that's a very intense book. And also I have one called The Mind of a Murderer, which was about various behavioral experts over the past century who interviewed killers, mass murderers, and serial killers to get as close as possible, spending a lot of time with them to get as close as possible to their process of becoming a criminal. And so he would have been exposed to that. I think now looking back, I would look at maybe some of the things that interested him as being, something that gives me pause, but we always have to think about.
So she said, looking back, I have to think about if there was something there to give me pause. Like I would like an update on that. Like I wish she would come out and speak again. It would be so interesting to talk to her. Okay, so now that you've had 3 years, like what are we going on 4? 3 years? Now that you've had time to reflect on everything, what's your conclusion now? Did you think you saw something? Wouldn't that be interesting? I need my producer to get a hold of my producer needs to get a hold of Catherine Ramsland so we can set that interview up. I wish I had a producer. I'm going to tell Carlos he has to be my producer. Or what do you call that? My assistant, my production assistant. It's nobody. It's me, you guys. I do everything. That's funny. Maybe someone can email even a question, right? Yeah. Yep. Oh, I had a fun fact. So fun fact, Rex Heuermann just pled guilty. He did not take a plea deal. He just changed his plea to guilty, admitted to killing all 7 women plus an additional 8th one. And before that trial, or before that hearing where he was going to plead guilty, he got a letter, and I believe it was from BTK. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was from Dennis Rader. And he told him to grow a pair. I thought it was hilarious. First of all, that there's like serial killer pen pals, right? And that one serial killer was telling another one to grow a pair. He was telling him to just admit to it, like own up to it. Okay. Now here's the other fun fact. I forgot I had 2. Rex Heuermann agreed to be studied. He agreed to be studied. So maybe Catherine Ramsland here is going to be spending some time with Rex Heuermann. So just some true crime news.
We all know, everyone in this field, forensic psychology and criminology, know that we could have students who might become offenders. But we also know that the vast majority of our students will not, and will instead go into a field like law enforcement, FBI, Secret Service.
Oh, they go into what? FBI, law enforcement, FBI, Secret Service, right? That's what she said. Her, successful students have successful careers in law enforcement, FBI, Secret Service. Dun, dun, dun. She didn't see any red flags about Bryan. She hasn't come out, as far as I know, and shared anything about the red flags she did see with hindsight. She looks at every class she has with the knowledge. So she was not blind to this. She is saying, not only myself, but other professors that are my colleagues that teach this kind of content in this field, we all are well aware that any given class, we could have students who are not there for the right reasons or are, but she wouldn't see anything to make her go, I think this one might be it. I think this one might be it. I think when you're an expert at any profession, you kind of get that, like, it's skill, it's training, it becomes like intuition. I don't know. I'm just harping on that. I really think that she would have saw something
that make the world better, that protect us, that so we know that there's always a risk that we're attracting somebody who wants to do something terrible. Hoping we won't ever have that, but in my case, I did.
Okay. One of my favorite quotes, anybody else like quotes? I collect them. One of my favorite quotes is, hope is not a strategy. You can't hope for things to happen and, be successful. So if she's in this critical field, and I mean, think about that. Do you think that they just leave it up to chance? Do you think that they would intervene at, in a forensic criminology course, college, where you are studying serial killers and you're giving like critical information out there about this field that's already super dangerous? You don't think they put anything into place like to flag students? They have, like, just for teaching, there's like, you got to jump through some hoops to like even get into the program. I'm sure there was some vetting. Going on. She didn't spot it because it didn't exist. Is that the easiest explanation? Easiest explanation sometimes, right? Hey, breakfast, sausage biscuits. Hello. I've been so happy that I've got to hear you talk on panels and stuff. Like, I just feel like I get to know people better in the chat. Love that. And you said if she didn't spot her protege and the most brilliant one that she recommended for this position, and she doesn't know and she can't see it, then she sucks at her job. That is, I feel like we're all just like getting a little rougher. I know I am. I think we're all getting a little bit more brazen with our criticism because more things are coming out that are just like, are you kidding me? Right? Occam's razor. She didn't see it because it didn't exist. So I'm not going to roast her for like, I don't know. I guess I see what you guys are saying. Like, if he had it and she didn't see it, then that looks like incompetence. But what I'm saying is, she's competent. She's the, she could be the GOAT. she just didn't, it wasn't there. So there was nothing to see. So that doesn't make her suck at her job because she didn't see what wasn't there. Like it could be that, right? You sent some things to the Discord. Ooh, of why he could possibly be a Fed. Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh, wasn't that Pav's whole latest thing about what's not there? Lack of evidence isn't evidence of proof or something like that. You can't see what doesn't exist, right? Exactly. That was my point. Yeah. All right.
Can you say, Dr. Ramsland, what it was looking back now that sort of raises your eyebrows specifically in terms of things in the class?
I think just the idea of wanting to study offenders and what their thought process was, how they felt about their crime.
What was this question?
Specifically in terms of things in the class?
Terrible. Hoping we won't ever have that, but in my case, I did.
Can you say, Dr. Ramsland, what it was looking back now that sort of raises your eyebrows specifically in terms of things in the class?
Okay, here comes her hindsight. Here's the hindsight.
I think just the idea of wanting to study offenders and what their thoughts.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. What did you see in class? What did you see in your forensic criminal psychology class where you're studying serial killers? What did you see from your student that caused you concern? He wanted to study serial killers. That's what the class is about. That's what the class was about. You're getting this.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Someone asked me the other day, why do I do that? Why do I have a unicorn on the screen? I first thought a unicorn was going to be my mascot. I thought we were going to use unicorns, but I didn't know how to say that. So his name is Side Eye. I'm keeping him anyways. And sometimes people just get a great big side eye. Ask her to talk about the book. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've never slowed this interview down and looked at it this way. This is interesting.
Thought process was, how they felt about their crimes, wanting to study that, and then finding out that this is a person who then is now saying he's guilty of doing these things.
So she did not answer the question. She did not say anything behavioral that she noticed about him. Like, for instance, looking back now, you might say, wow, he really asked awkward, off the wall questions about serial killers, inappropriate, crossing the line type questions. He was more fascinated with the condition of the victims than he was with the processes I was trying to teach. I would imagine those would be the red flags. If she would have seen something, it would have been like that, right? Every kid in her class fits the description she just said. Every kid in her class wants to study serial killers. Every kid in her class wants to find out how they were feeling when they committed the crime, because that was literally the title of one of her classes. She was teaching that. Maybe she doesn't. Who knows? She's only spoke out one time, and then her lawyer shut her down. Her attorney said no more, and she hasn't spoke out since.
I have to look at the framework of what I taught and wonder, did I inspire him in some some way did I, but I can't second guess that, because I may have inspired somebody else to become an FBI agent.
Exactly. So she did the same thing she does with everybody. So, she's definitely just saying he didn't exhibit anything. He did not exhibit anything that she saw.
And that's, unfortunately, in this field, that's what we live with.
I mean, you've been studying serial killers most of your life, but when you talk about the fact that what you taught may have inspired this, that's got to be hard for you to process, I would imagine.
It's terrible, very hard. And it's not just what happened to the victims. I really thought Bryan Kohberger was a promising student who really could have made a mark in this career in a very positive way. I thought that. So disappointed, angry, and very shocked that this is who he turned out to be, and horrified for the victims and their families. Just horrified. I mean, I worked with Dennis Rader closely for 5 years. I met the victims' families. I saw the devastation that these kinds of acts can have. And I have to always keep that in mind when I'm teaching these subjects.
What did you think when you first heard that Bryan Kohberger, your former student, was arrested for this?
I was completely floored. I didn't.
Why would you be completely floored? Because I never saw it coming. Because he never displayed any of the tendencies that I know that most serial killers, unless he was a unicorn, unless Bryan was, a complete, doesn't follow any of the patterns. She was completely floored. Hi, Karmic Retribution. Happy Monday. Why does she close her eyes saying this? I don't know. We have to watch that body language guy. What's that body language guy's name? Jen, yeah, I was talking about like how I know, like, I feel like I let my anger come out a little bit more. I make a little bit more snarky comments. To me, it's because I've seen more hard evidence that proves certain things weren't true, according to what the narrative was that was put out either to mainstream media about this case or what was in any of the prosecution claims, stuff like that. So I think that's where the empowerment is coming from. Yeah, some people maybe because of the plea deal. Yeah. She was shocked. She was shocked.
Didn't believe it. And his demeanor that we saw on media was that he was confident that he was going to be able to prove his innocence. So I wanted to wait and see. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. But as months go by and he kept saying.
Okay. I think that's telling right there also. She wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. If she had that little voice in the back of her head the whole time she was teaching him, like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't turn out on the wrong side of this. What am I seeing here? Am I really seeing what I'm seeing? If she really had that little voice of doubt about Bryan Kohberger, if she saw any signs or behaviors from him, and then she sees he gets arrested, I don't think she would be saying, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I also don't think she would come right out and say, like I said, because of possible liability or something. Like, I don't think she would come out and say, oh yeah, I saw this coming a mile away. I mean, I think that holds some kind of possible liability. I don't know how that would work. So I don't think she would do that, but I think she's being very, she's trying to be neutral, I feel, but I feel like she's letting us know she really didn't see anything. She really didn't think anything, and that it was shocking. She also saw how he was blocked at every motion. Yes, but this was way before any of that. This is not a new interview. This is probably back from 2023. So this interview would have been probably in the spring of 2023. And so it was before any of the like court proceedings or anything. I agree with you. I do think she seems sincere. Yeah. 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 Oh, you would know that, Sausage, right? If she said, I saw this come, right? Well, I also think if she saw this coming a mile away, she would, I mean, I do think she would have done something. She would have done something. Don't you think they would have a way to get people out of that program? That's what I'm telling you. They have like hoops and requirements and tests and things that you have to, standards you have to meet to get into these programs. And if they had any concerns, I'm going to look into that. What are like requirements? That's how they weed people out, right? They weed people out that way. As a teacher, I had to do that in college. Like we had to pass certain tests, do things. There's requirements you have to meet, and people drop off along the way. Not everybody's cut out for it. You do agree that if she was concerned, yeah, I think so too. Why would you be in that field, in that career? It's your life's work. Her life's work is to identify these people. If like this is her life's goal right here. If she had like a young Dennis Rader in her classroom, don't you think that would be like not a dream, but like a goal of hers to be like able to pick it out and stop it before it happens? If you apologize, that insinuates and implies acknowledgement of guilt. If she had concerns, yeah. Yeah, I don't think she would have recommended him. I don't think he would have been able to stay in the program. There's weeding out processes. Great discussion.
That
you
he had an
guys.
alibi, and I wondered, well, why are you sitting in jail? Give us your alibi, get out. And that wasn't happening. And then it was really when he said his alibi, and it was clearly not an alibi, and he would have known that, certainly from all the classes that he had through undergraduate and graduate work. He would have understood that wasn't really an alibi. I think that was when I was really, floored that this is my student who has done these things.
Maybe I was off on the timeline of when this interview was. Because he took a while to give that alibi, right? I know it came out in like parts. I don't know. What do you guys think about this statement? Like, I was even more floored when he didn't have an alibi. How can you know on any given day you're going to need an alibi? Don't ever go somewhere by yourself. Don't ever go for a drive by yourself. Don't go for a walk by yourself. Don't shut your phone off. You feel like this was right after the plea. Oh no, let me look. I know this was way before the plea. Because Carlos and I did it on our Carlos and I did this on one of our episodes. No. Oh, someone posted this on Facebook. July, that's when she posted it. But the original one, I'm telling you, is way before. Alicia, you always have, I got an alibi in my back pocket, ready to go.
You mentioned, I mean, you studied BTK, the serial killer. You met with him many times in prison. This is what you do in a hope to prevent these things from further happening and understand the mind of a serial killer. Would you want to study Bryan Kohberger? Have you put any thought into that? Is that something that you think could be possible?
I've been thinking about that for 2.5 years. I would. I mean, this is my work. If he wanted to do that, I would. And within the framework of this
says August 18th, 2024 is the court clip that they're showing right here.
This is what we do to try to look at developmental trajectories, the triggers, so that we can see the red flags faster. We can prevent people like this from wreaking the havoc that they do. So if he wanted to do that, I know that he's got the intellectual capacity to do it, to be self-reflective, to help think through how his life came to this. And so I would definitely do it if he were willing. And it would be hard. But I think because I have so much material from him, I have questions for him that I think nobody else but me could ask.
So that's telling and interesting. Like, she has material from him. Is she looking at his writings in a different way? I don't know. That's interesting. I wish she would talk to him. She also, she made that statement about his alibi, but now looking at what we know about the evidence and stuff, I never thought it looked like Ann Taylor got everything. She had to keep asking, filing for discovery. I know there was something she didn't even get until like after the plea hearing. So, yeah, I don't know. Books, not boxes. He had all those boxes about how people got forced into guilty pleas. I'd say when it comes out that he didn't do it, he was forced into a guilty plea. He should get his honorary PhD. Yeah. I have looked into the things he wrote about. I do think they were assignments. I took the photographs that were of the papers, his essays that were in his apartment. And I read some of them on an episode. They were questions he was answering. So it wasn't like he was picking the topic. And they even told him what case to cite. So he had to like use the Nora Jackson case. That was somebody that got forced into a plea deal, I believe. I covered her story. So yeah, there's that aspect. People getting forced into plea deals. It looks like he knew that was an issue. I just watched that Cash for Kids documentary, and that was all about judicial corruption. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be about. It was really about the corrupt judicial system, and just the judicial system, how it's a negative cycle. So I do agree that those were concerns of his. It looks like things that he was interested in. Hi, love and other habits. I think it's all about who you know. It's all about who you know, right? Connections. Hey, Jason. Hey, everybody say hi to Red Zebra in the chat. Okay, I knew when I had like more than 12 resources for today that this was probably going to be more than one episode. So I'm going to keep today's focused on Bryan, this background information that we're looking at about Bryan. And this potential job working at WSU. So let's look back at a couple more things. So this was Fox 6 Milwaukee, and this was an article from January 6th, 2023. So this was really fast. And the headline says, Idaho murders. Bryan Kohberger applied for internship at Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Could you imagine Washington State Police Department, Pullman Police Department, letting this get out there? If it was true, would they let this get out there? Oh my goodness. So here's what it says. We know that who is accused of stabbing the 4 University of Idaho students. Bryan Kohberger, the criminology PhD student, applied for an internship in the fall with the local police department in Pullman, Washington, according to a newly released probable cause affidavit. Kohberger worked as a teaching assistant at Washington State University and lived in Pullman, a college town just miles from the crime scene in Moscow, Idaho. He submitted his application to the police department at some point during the fall semester when he took his first semester of classes at WSU after graduating from DeSales University with a master's degree in psychology and cloud-based forensics in June of 2022. The date on his letter is March of 2021. So he applied in March of 2021. The fall semester it would start in August of 2022 is when the fall semester would start. So I don't think they got their dates right. Kohberger wrote in his essay he had an interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. So that was his goal. As part of his graduate studies at WSU, Kohberger also posted a survey on Reddit asking prospective participants to provide information about how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. And Ramsland said that was like the title of one of their courses. So there is like a line of coursework in this field that is all about emotions and psychological traits. And then it has the affidavit here with that part. And I think I have that highlighted. Nope. What is this? Oh, ha 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 ha. Okay. One more over here. Let me find my. Oh my God, why do I do this? Okay. Let's skip to Gary Jenkins. I said we were going to talk about Gary Jenkins. Okay. The man who interviewed Bryan Kohberger. All right, here's Gary Jenkins.
And was the police chief at the Pullman Police Department in 2022, in April of 2022. So, Chief Jenkins, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, take me back, if you will, to that interview that you did with Bryan Kohberger for the internship, the research assistantship program. Does anything stand out to you from that interview?
You know, there was nothing that was really significant about that interview or that stood out about it. I interviewed 4 people, 2 on one day, 2 on the next, all on Zoom. And I just made an assessment about who would be the best fit for that position. And
Okay. Just like the other one.
Number one,
What is he really saying?
that interview that you did with Bryan Kohberger for the internship, the research assistantship program. Does anything stand out to you from that interview?
you know, there was nothing that was really significant about that interview or
I'm smacking my head. I'm banging my head against the wall. You interviewed the mass killer in your town. What stood out to you about him? Nothing really. Nothing really. Yeah, he was like a little creepy. Oh my God, his bushy eyebrows. Like, yeah, I you know what stood out to me is how uneasy I felt when I was talking to him. He just gave off this vibe that I was like, I don't know about this guy. I mean, I am speaking out loud of like anything he could have said that would have been odd, you know, that you're interviewing the killer. But he says, oh, nothing.
that stood out about it. I interviewed 4 people, 2 on one day, 2 on the next, all on Zoom. And I just made an assessment about who would be the best fit for that position and selected someone other than Bryan Kohberger.
Mm-hmm. And there was only one position open.
Correct. Just one position.
And he was applying in his essay, he said, for not only a position, possibly for consideration with the city of Pullman, but also with the city of Pasco.
Right. Well, that program is run through the Washington State University Criminal Justice and Criminology program. And they had that program running at Pullman Police Department and the Pasco Police Department. So there was a position open in each department.
Why did you feel that Bryan Kohberger was not the right fit for that position?
So that position really requires someone who can establish trust and rapport with my staff. And that's not an easy task with law enforcement, someone coming in from the outside that's not law enforcement. It's difficult to develop that trust to be an effective researcher. And in talking with him, he didn't communicate in a fluid or conversational manner. He wasn't particularly personable. And so I just didn't feel like he would be able to develop that trust or rapport with my staff, and therefore wouldn't be an effective researcher with us.
So it wasn't that there was something like, oh, this guy's got some red flags, but it was more like maybe he's a little awkward. He's just not going to be a good fit.
That's exactly right. I didn't pick up on anything that was a significant red flag. It just was a matter of not being a good fit.
And he does kind of have a more formal, I guess, if you would, way of speaking from the little bit we've seen. And even in his essay that he wrote, I mean, it's very, for lack of a better word, I mean, it's very formally written, as you would expect, but it's also, I would say, on the wonky side.
Yeah. I think he has an awkward way of communicating verbally and in writing. And so that definitely was something I recall.
So Chief Jenkins, let's now fast forward a little bit from the spring of 2022 to fall of 2022. The homicides happen on King Road, and no, it's not in your jurisdiction, but my God, it's literally in your community. On my visits to Pullman and Moscow, it's almost like one big community, even though they're in two different states. It was always described to me that, there's a lot of going back and forth, people from Pullman to Moscow and vice versa, maybe for shopping. And a lot of the kids in Pullman know some of the kids in Moscow. So this had to be just absolutely shocking and startling. I'm thinking, my God, 10-minute drive away, 15-minute drive away, this happened.
It was shocking. It definitely was not in character for our region. And we are close-knit communities. We're somewhat isolated. The next closest bigger city would be either a 40-minute drive down to the Lewiston area or hour and a half drive up to Spokane. So we rely on each other a lot. And so that does make us close-knit, and we work together frequently. And on that day, when I heard about it, I made a cell phone call to Chief Fry to offer any kind of assistance that they might need. And he was actually out of town, I believe, in his car traveling back to Moscow. And so he thanked me for the offer, and he said he would let me know if he needed anything from us. And ultimately, he didn't. They brought in a lot of other resources. A lot of times, that state line is somewhat of a barrier and with regard to resources. But if someone needs something quickly, we definitely provide assistance to each other.
This had to be something, though, since you also, are in charge of basically keeping students safe, something that you might have been closely monitoring.
Sure. And we, just like there was a vandal alert that was sent out to the University of Idaho campus, we also sent out an alert to the Washington State University campus to let them know what had happened and to, take precautions, and just so that they knew that there was a serious crime, quadruple homicide that occurred, and the killer was loose. And so we wanted to make sure that people were aware of that and they can take their own precautions.
A bolo went out in November, a couple of weeks after the homicides, to law enforcement only. And there were a couple of Washington State University officers who actually noticed that there was a white Hyundai Elantra owned by Bryan Kohberger on campus. It was a different, year than they were looking for. But can you explain to me what happened with that? Because it's mentioned in the probable cause affidavit, but I feel like there's a lot of confusion about that, because people think, oh, well, they were looking at him that early, but that's really not the case, I don't think, because, they then made that a public bolo on December 7th.
Okay, you guys, I apologize. I had to walk away. I let this play while I walked away because, are you ready for this? My basement's flooded again. My basement's flooded again. So, the plumbers are here And they have to do some major cutting out flooring and trying to get in there and clean stuff out. So I am going to have to wrap this up, and I apologize because I wasn't here listening to this part of it. However, tomorrow we're going to dive more into everything we are finding out about Gary Jenkins' communications with Moscow Police Department, keeping the focus on this connection with Bryan Kohberger. He is the one that actually interviewed him, spoke to him, should have known him, recognized the name. And I looked up I have information ready to go about how that internship program works. A little bit about what you do with cloud forensic information with law enforcement. And then tying this in with tying this in with issues that were discovered long ago by some other creators, with Pullman Police Department, Washington State Police Department. So I started off talking about that. Like, we knew about the sexual assault allegations and people that had to retire and people that were fired in those agencies. So there was that part of it. I also want to look at the prescription pill part of it. And we know how that ties into the Idaho 4 as well. So before I jump off real quick, let me see your comments. Why didn't he send the survey to people who were in jail? Oh, that's what I have it up there. The survey is bizarre. It was approved, but who is going to answer that survey, honestly? So remember, Catherine Ramsland interviews serial killers, right? Bryan is working his way up through that career, through that degree program. That's part of that type of work, forensic criminology studying. You're studying criminals. That's what that is. He's at the doctorate level. He's not like first 4-year student. He's like up at the top. You are going to start doing that type of research, talking to criminals. He's not in a room one-on-one with a criminal. He has come up with some questions and put it out. And I don't know. That's interesting. I think back in my day, children, we would have the psychology department would have surveys, and they would be paper pencil. And if you showed up to take them, they would like pay you. Like, I'm not kidding. They would pay you. So I don't know how it worked in 2022. But those were great questions. How else does a person research? Yeah. Yep. Okay. I do have to run. Hopefully they're going to be able to fix my basement today. I hadn't even gone down there in a few days and there's like water. I'm like, the plumber even had that reaction like, oh shit. Oh boy. Hey, Mittens for Kittens. Good to see you. Kane. Hey, Kane. I walked away for a minute. All right. I'm coming back tomorrow with this same topic. Moving on, though, to more about the actual work of this cloud forensic internship and Gary Jenkins. So I hope you guys will join me back for that tomorrow. Please hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't. Please share this out if you liked this topic. Like, share it with somebody who might be interested in it. I would appreciate that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe, it's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. That could be unique, yeah, that's you and me. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. It's free, it keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew, now right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife and wild to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Yeah, that's you and me, that's you and me. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear.